Nation.
Let's go.
Let's go. Welcome into the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. It's DNVR Buffs Prime Time / the pregame show to start off today. We're presented by Illegal Pete's. Unk is back. We're going to hit Saturday's scrimmage. Got some recruiting and portal stuff. A lot to get into today, actually. What is up, Unk? How you doing, man?
Hey, man, I am feeling great. Great to be here with the brothers again and with improved knowledge, not just from the scrimmage, but this is the first week where I go into a week knowing what the hell the front range is, thanks to RK last week.
I don't know. The listeners would say that I was wrong about that. The front. Do we need to go into this?
This is on you, bro.
The front range is referring to the front range of the mountains.
Yes.
That is the front of the range. Yeah. The front range area is the areas that back up to the front range of the mountains. I feel like that's pretty simple.
Hey, I'm going with your definition, man. I didn't know, and one thing I don't do and I don't know is challenge the person who told me something. So front range means what the hell RK said it means.
Thank you.
It's official. We figured it out, guys. All right, Unk. Saturday seemed like a ton of fun, man. Seemed like a beautiful day up there. Just watching the well-off and everything. The team looks really good. What can you share? What'd you see?
Saw that, man. First of all, shout out to the weather gods. What a perfect day to be outside for football. Not too hot, not too cold, no humidity. Sun was out. Weather was perfect, man. Just enough to get a sweat, but not enough, nearly nowhere near shivering. I thought the guys looked good. I thought they were moving around. I love the energy from the coaches, from the players. You got to see some players who really, were able to show what they were doing. Amari Miller had a good day. Micah in the running game was there. All three of the backs who got some reps, were doing great. I thought it was a great scrimmage, man. Arrow is certainly pointing up.
Love it. Let's just start with Omari Miller then, because
wait. Before we get into that,
okay,
I have two things. All right. One, Unk, I've got to apologize for my friend here. He still doesn't quite get etiquette and pleasantries. I gotta tell someone about this. So yesterday, our great friend Uncle Neely hits us with a text. Such a pleasant and wonderful offering. He says, "Hey, if you guys have a show tomorrow, I'd love to hop on, talk about the scrimmage." Like, that's amazing stuff. Thanks so much, Unc. Here's how Jake responds. And you need to know that he says, if you have a show and want me to hop on, just let me know. So an offer, but also needs a response back like, we would love that.
Jake says, no, we're good, man.
This is what Jake says. Sounds good. We can do that. 1:30 work. It's not like he was asking a favor. He was offering something. Not sounds good. We can do that. It's, damn, thanks, Unc. Really appreciate that. We would love to have you on.
Oh, my God.
Now, that did happen. I can verify you were reading that text message word for word verbatim. But, Jake, I didn't take it in Jake voice. I took it in partnership voice. We're boys, we're guys. You were just cutting to the chase. I didn't read it in angry Jake. Now, you may have verbalized it angrily, but I didn't read it in Jake's voice.
It wasn't anger, bro.
It wasn't anger. It's just you got to put a little more spice in the mix so people know that you're happy and excited and thankful for what they're offering you.
I'm a direct guy, man.
One change, RK. He's got plenty of spice. He needs to put some sugar in the mix.
Yeah, there you go. That's true. You got to put some sugar on it.
I'm just trying to, he asked a question, I answered it. That's all I saw it as.
I said, hell yeah, sounds awesome either way, Unc. Thank you.
Yeah, you were excited, RK. Jake was like, whatever.
Unc knows he's my guy, though. Come on.
I'm just saying. All right. And then also, before we get into the full individual scrimmage talk, I would love to hear just kind of the setup of the scrimmage and the format.
All right, sure. Yeah. So it started off as a regular practice, doing some individual drills with the units, the stretch lines with Coach Mo, breaking it down with Coach Prime, establishing a tone for the day, which he let Coach Mooch, Steve Mariucci, do that part. And then, defense was on one sideline, offense was on the other sideline, and you had a script of plays, a stack of plays, if you will, for the ones and twos, and then you just go at it. And the officials were out there calling the game, so I had game tempo. Of course, there's going to be some stoppages of play from the head coach, being Coach Prime, when he sees something he doesn't like. And he was chastising coaches just as much as players. Like, he's the head coach. So when something's not flowing like it should be, he may call the defensive coaches up or the offensive coaches up. So you had some stoppages like that. But as far as full speed, full contact, everybody got hit except the quarterback.
Love it. And how many plays do you think, ish?
Oh, man. Let's go 80. I think we probably were under 100.
Okay, great. All right, now we can get into the individual notes.
I love it. Hey, Jake, I love you, Jake. We're good. Jake, we're good.
I know we are, and I love you too, man. I don't know why my text messages are interpreted by some people as not out of love.
Jake, I just feel like we could get like a group text from Coach Prime being like, "Hey, I would love to come on the show," and you would respond, "Okay, sounds good."
Yeah, he would. He would. See, it's just one of these situations. Both of y'all are right. RK, you're right. He needed some sugar to spice the text. But Jake, because I know you love you and understand you, I didn't take it the wrong way.
Thank you.
I believe that.
You responded like you were driving.
I was busy yesterday, yes.
See?
I was very productive yesterday, too.
Hell yeah, I love to hear it.
Omari Miller. He kind of started off camp as the guy. Micah Welch kind of, took that a bit as spring practices progressed. But Omari Miller, just some of the catches he was putting up on Saturday were crazy. How do you project he fits in this wide receiver room at this point?
Man, it's going to be interesting. He's fitting very well right now. But I want to see how he fits when the other guys get here, Memorial Day weekend, and we get into fall camp in August. Because when you look at experience-wise and you look at measurables, they're quote-unquote better than he is. And I'm doing those air quotes. They're supposed to be better than he is. But right now, he has earned that spot, man. He is catching whatever comes his way. He's running his routes. His communication with Shador between plays or when the ones were off the field can't get any better. I think that, right now, man, he's in a perfect position to match what you wanted him to do on your draft when you said, give me 200 plus yards from Miller one day. I think the rub is going to be is that this wide receiver room is not the wide receiver room we're going to have in August. We got some straight up dogs that are coming in, and I don't think anybody's going to concede anything.
Yeah, I think the important thing to keep in mind here is you can never have too many good wide receivers. It's not as if, this obviously wouldn't happen with Shador, but just because it's a one person position, if the QB2 was all of a sudden looking incredible, a la Russell Wilson when he went to Seattle and was looking better than Matt Flynn, who they just paid him $15 million a year, which was a lot back then. Like, that would be a big story of like, only one of these guys can be on the field. Someone's going to have to win this, and it's very binary.
Mm-hmm.
It's either you or you win. With and Will Shepherd, who's coming in, and all of the other guys in there, it doesn't have to be binary. The more that you have at the position, the better. Now, obviously, wide receivers, they want catches. They want playing time. They want to be out there. And that's always going to be something that has to be balanced by the play caller and the quarterback. But in general, it's not a thing where you have to choose one of Will Shepherd and Omari Miller, and you would love to have the option of both guys being absolute beasts.
Man, RK, it's like if you would have given me a day or two to write a speech to just sum it up, I would have wrote exactly what you just said. That is perfect world scenario. That's what you would want in college football, and not just with the wide receiver position, with any room that requires depth. Cornerback requires depth. Offensive line requires depth. Defensive line requires depth. But here's the challenge in the 2024 college football. People don't want depth. People want their reps. People want their opportunity. They want to be the guy. And I'm not knocking anybody who thinks that. And I'm not saying that that's what Omari Miller is thinking. I'm just talking about the lay of the land in college football. So you have to measure, who's on the field the most. And if a guy really feels he's going to be that guy, and how does he react to that? There's just this layer of college football now that if I'm not listed as one of the ones, I don't like it. And that's just industry wide. Again, that's not labeled on one player here or the program here. That's just the nature of college football. You see it all the time with offensive linemen who want to transfer. I think the way offensive lines work are just the way you just described. You're going to get to play, whether you're listed as a 2 or not, by the time the season ends, you would have been on the field just as much as somebody listed as a 1. Just too bad that it's not managed that way from a player standpoint.
Absolutely. And the transfer portal has messed up so much of this, but in the pre-transfer portal days, this would be a perfect scenario. You've got a senior, super experienced veteran who's very talented that you love, as well as a young guy coming up behind him that you're like, oh, he's the heir here.
Mm-hmm.
He's already ready to go right now. And, as soon, whatever, even if it's he wins this year and plays more, or as soon as this guy's out, he's ready to step in. Like, that's how it used to be. That's how you build rosters. And everyone thinks that, this team, because it's transfer heavy, has no class balance. Well, this is a perfect example of a place where you do have class balance and class talent.
I mean, all of what you guys said, but for me, I just feel like, Amari Miller, he's now had a full year to work with Shedeur in this offense. He's built up some chemistry. The catches and the plays he makes are just ridiculous, really. But there is a lot of talent coming in. I just don't know how you keep O off the field at this point, though.
Yeah, I don't either. It just depends on how that talent comes in, how it performs. When you get into August ball, and it's the second week of August, and you're truly installing, for that season opener against North Dakota State, that you're going to see things emerge one way or the other. I agree with, all the points that are being made, man. You just hope that a guy will just understand your shots are there. The best players are going to see the field. Coach Prime does not believe anything unless he sees it at practice. And what Miller is showing at practice, what he just showed at the scrimmage, he's the guy, man.
Let's go to the trenches, man.
Oh, and by the way,
yes?
Absolutely a catch from O on the sideline.
Yeah.
In fact, an NFL catch.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's not forget we're playing college rules. He only needs 1 foot.
But he got both.
Yeah.
He did. Let's go to the trenches, man. The story of the offseason. How'd the offensive line look? How did they look in these live game scenarios?
Here's what I love about live game scenarios. And like we say back in Mississippi in the country.
Uh-oh.
No.
Well, I wish I could end the sentence there, but he said, like we said, oh, there he is.
Excuse me 1 second, I'll say it again. Like we say back in Mississippi, the bullshit stops when the tailgate drops. And when you have these live action scrimmages, when you're letting the dogs off the back of the truck to go hunting, only the dogs are going to jump off and go into the woods. You saw some nice hits out there. You saw some guys playing. But more importantly for me, Jake, when it gets into football time, that's why I love having officials out there. It's one thing to rough and tough and tumble each other up, but are you doing it within the confines of the rules? We had one of the most penalized teams in college football, particularly pre-snap, and it was killing our drives, and it was taking us out of field goal range. And it's something that it showed in the scrimmage. As talented as we are individually, we had 10 penalties on offense, 5 on defense in the scrimmage, and of the 10 penalties on offense, 8 were on the offensive line.
Still need work, it sounds like then.
Definitely still needs work.
Exactly. Loads of talent, man, has been completely upgraded. I have no doubt they're going to rise to the occasion. Have no doubt we're going to perform and give Deion Sanders a clean pocket. But I love to see what was typically would have been gotten away with in practice was called a hold, in a scrimmage, or was called a false start in a scrimmage. Even though in a regular practice you let the play go on, and so to see them have to narrow it in. Hey, man, it's not just about my physical prowess. I got to play the mental game as well. I love the calls that the officials were making out there because I think it got their attention.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that the coaches probably love to see is just like, hey, don't get comfortable. Don't get, overconfident here. We are still a long ways away. But at the same time, I always think in these situations about where they were on, April 15th of last year at this time in terms of bringing that offensive line together and figuring out who's going to be out there and, actually having the players on campus. So,
a great point, RK, because I guarantee you the first scrimmage last year, if you had 10 penalties this year on the offense, you had 30 last year on the offense. So the arrow is still absolutely pointing up, but I think it was a teachable moment, as Barack Obama would call it, where we can get some guys' attention and make sure they're focused.
Also, I want our official slogan of our tailgate this year to be the bullshit stops when the tailgate drops.
I love that.
Yeah. I done seen a bunch of dogs in McGee, Mississippi not jump off the back of that truck. They didn't want to the woods.
We saw the one penalty with Tyler Brown, like they called an ineligible man downfield, and even that felt ticky-tacky. But this is the time, where you want to see them, those calls, and they're like, the refs are watching the offensive line and all these guys a little bit closer than they would because you want to refine these things going into the game. What can you tell us about the defensive side of the ball, though? Defensive trenches.
They played well. Again, on the defense overall side of the ball, only 5 penalties were called, and 3 of those were, I think, in the secondary. Defensive line played well, stopped some crucial run plays. I think we still have some work to do in the red zone on the defense. But as Robert Livingston would tell you, it's a 2-word factor, man. It's Travis Hunter. Like when the offense gets down in the red zone and the ones are out there, Travis Hunter's just doing his thing, whether it's the pylon, whether it's a slant, you name it, he's making it happen. So it's really sharpening the defense, if anything. But I love the way the defense performed. I like the way that they are grasping the installs because Coach Livingston has really just done different from last year. This is not about his scheme. It's about the players we have, putting them in the best position to be stellar at what they do. And you saw them out there comfortable. You saw them out there flying around, and you saw the defensive line, holding up, stopping the run. You also saw them get back there in what in a game scenario would have been a sack or 2.
Love to hear that. Now that you kind of have the picture of, a game simulation in front of you, it's just more information to kind of add to the Rolodex that you build over spring ball. But as you look out there with this portal opening now, what positions do you think are going to be kind of the top targets?
Top targets, I don't think the priority has changed, RK. Great question. We left, Washington State last year saying we got to upgrade the offensive line. We got to upgrade the defensive line. I think you have checked those boxes, but now it's time to go add depth. I think that you're going to look for 2 or 3 O-line to come in and 2 or 3 D-line to come in as well. I think there's still going to be emphasis on maybe one linebacker, an impactful linebacker to come in, as well as someone who can challenge Staub for QB2 and challenge Staub for the future, not just this season, for the future. So I'm saying 2 O-line, 2 D-line, 1 linebacker, and a backup quarterback away from having your bases covered.
Love it.
Awesome. I want to ask you about, Coach Sapp first, but man, we had Mark Schlereth and Coach Mooch out there too. Someone just had a comment. Coach Sapp is like a passion volcano on the field when he's out there coaching. What was he like out there in that scrimmage on Saturday?
Man, all over the place. As I said to you guys before, as he says about himself, you're going to hear him before you see him. And I don't care what end of the field we were on, you could hear Warren Sapp coaching and being engaged. There were a couple times that the head coach, Coach Prime Deion Sanders, had to say, Coach Sapp, get off the field. Like, this is a scrimmage. Like, you're on the field, because he was engaged, man. And when they do what's called group teaching between sessions, what he was imparting on the defensive line and defensive players about hand placement. We got a video up we put up this morning on the pregame show YouTube that shows him really interacting and teaching some players one-on-one. And I mean, he looks like it's taekwondo or judo or something. His energy, the way the light bulb goes off in their head when he's coaching them individually and collectively. I love what Sapp is doing and the intensity he's bringing. It's just like Coach Prime said, we just got to remember that he's not playing. He's got to stay off the field.
Got a little message here from our guy Cam. He said, Uncle Neely, the GOAT, tapped in.
How'd
Cam look out there?
Man, Cam looked great, man. And I ain't saying it because he just made a comment. Cam is a dog. Cam plays with a chip on his shoulder. Not to bring up, some old news, but you remember last year when we got together, we were picking starters, and you 2 voted against Cam. That lit a fire on his ass.
Man, please.
I hope y'all vote against him this year because it's going to light another fire on his ass. Cam Selman Craig is a dog who plays with a chip on his shoulder. He plays, with heart and passion, and people don't appreciate how cerebral Cam is with the game. They talk about a Trevor Woods who moved down to linebacker and his football IQ, or Shiloh's football IQ. No drop off with Cam, man. That dude knows the game. He knows where his position is supposed to be, and all the people below him, as far as the linebackers in the D line, where they're supposed to be. And you really just can't replace his energy. He is a football player.
I love it. 2 things. One, we're breaking a rule. We're not allowed to talk about Cam on the show. He specifically requested, he said that's why he stopped getting interceptions last year, because everyone was talking about him. So quarterbacks got scared to throw his way. So That'll be the last Cam talk for a while. Also, I made him my starter at all 22 positions.
I love it. Cam's a good dude, man. He didn't take it the wrong way. He's one of those guys. Even in the SWAC, he didn't make first team. And when we got toward the end of the season, and then got to the SWAC championship, and he makes some big plays, interception. He looked right at the camera and said, "Hey, remember y'all didn't vote to be first team? That's what you get. Like I'm going to show you what happens when you undercount me, discount me, or don't have me on your list." So he feeds off that kind of stuff, man.
I love it. Yeah, Cam's a dog. We all know that. Coach Mooch and Mark Schlereth. The speech that Mark Schlereth gave to the team before the scrimmage was one of the best I've heard, I think, since Coach Prime has been in Boulder. Just talking about, his enjoyment of his playing career and how it's a brotherhood and how playing this game is really a blessing and how you can pass that blessing on between teammates and so forth. Go back and listen to that speech. But what was it like having those guys out there?
Man, let me start with the speech first. I sit between the linebackers and the running backs. I sit on row 4, seat 11. It's like pretty much dead center. And I'm trying to film Mark's speech, but also I get so caught up in listening to it. At one point, I'm probably filming the ceiling or the back of Travis Hunter's head because I forgot I had a job to do, and I was like just drawn in by the speech. But for him to talk about having a teammate that believed in him, and he later was able to return that favor, and always being ready for your opportunity, even when you're being counted out, you can still be counted on. I thought that just set the tone for the day. To have Coach Mooch there, who has been a Power 5 head coach 2 NFL teams, been a quarterback coach to Brett Favre in Green Bay, having their presence there during the practice. Mooch even put on the headset for a little while and called a couple of plays with Sherman. Like, they were engaged, man. They're not allowed to do direct coaching as far as out there on the field or working with players, but having their presence in the building, conversations that they could have at lunch or breakfast or speaking to the team, you can't replace it. It's just another example of friends of Coach Prime who come support what he's doing. And when they come, they're able to pour into these young people as well. You just can't even calculate the impact that has, man. You got 2 Hall of Famers in the building at all times, and you got people like Mark and Mooch showing up on a Saturday scrimmage. Unbelievable.
Truly one of a kind stuff.
Yeah, it's special up there, man. You can feel it. I mean, I've been up there, of course. We've all been up there, but you can feel it through the screen, specifically in those videos from Saturday's scrimmage. Just the passion that these guys bring in, the passion that Coach Prime commands from his coaching staff and his players. It's just really special up there.
Yeah, I think people lose track of that, Jake. I hinted to it earlier, but Coach Prime he will stop practicing and get on the coaches. We had a couple of substitution errors or lapses on defense, and Coach Prime called the timeout and huddled the defensive coaches up, not the players, but the coaches. Like, he is fully engaged and expects high level from everybody out there on the field. I don't care if you're a trainer, equipment staff, all the way up to defensive coordinator. When he sees something he doesn't like, he coaches it. He coaches it and coaches it out of you.
Awesome, man.
That's great, man. Anything else from the scrimmage that you want to share with the people?
No, I know I see you guys at practice this week for our after practice updates, and I'm sure we have another scrimmage coming up this Saturday as well. And Jake, just know that no matter how factual RK was, I forgive you, brother.
No ill intent, Neely. I love you. You're my guy.
I love y'all too, man. Check y'all Tuesday. I guess I'll see you.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
All right, see you then. Love you, brother.
All right, bro.
See you, man.